biggest challenge for Islam has always been can you actually have separation of church and state? It is not compatible.
No, it's not prescribed.
It's a blueprint for how to run your entire society.
It's a theocracy.
This should be your jam.
Are misinterpreting the Israel-Hamas conflict, Israel-Palestine conflict. And I've heard people say that it's weapons manufacturers that are owned by Jews who want this war. And by the way,
where are you hearing that shit? Maybe it's the people you hang out with, Steven. You know? Maybe it's a whole bunch of anti-Semitic assholes who fucking believe in, like, globalist conspiracy theories.
By the way, I get it.
Maybe you should stop fucking talking to Alex Jones.
Military-industrial complex, there are people who profit from war to believe.
Yeah, that you know who they are? Did you know who the secret, like, shady organization of people? They're billionaires. Billionaires are the ones who control everything. Billionaires. Yeah, that doesn't matter what their religions are.
Believe that the Israeli government allowed 1,400 people to be killed so that they could give out another weapon.
Right.
To me is okay.
Again, like, weird. I haven't heard that conspiracy theory amongst the friends and colleagues and people I hang out with, probably because I don't hang out with fucking horrifying anti-Semites who believe that this entire thing maybe just be like, oh yeah, well, we got us. Like, wasn't Alex Jones the day of that hospital bombing saying that, like, the whole thing was like a false flag attack, just doing the Alex Jones special on the spot? Like, of all the horrifying things that can come to your mind in that moment, to start thinking that, like, the actual fucking children who have just been bombed are once again like crisis actors?
No, it does start with the eradication of Jews from Islam. And by the way, Christians are next. Like you just said, the dimitude goes away because you've had your time. If you haven't converted, you're like, good news. The poll tax.
By the way, the right are just fucking leaning hard into this whole horrifying holy war shit, being like, well, yeah, this is actually a holy war, says Lindsey Graham. Oh, heavens to Betsy, we're in the middle of a holy war. Yeah, my words have no meaning anymore. They're not important. Like, do you know how fucking horrifying it is to hear that out of a lawmaker's mouth? You know, just being said as if it's just casual conversation.
It's now going to zero today. Oh, wow, great. The bad news is you're going to be burned alive and thrown from a rooftop.
I can't even tell what race and accent he's doing right now. Who's this?
So, let me give you two different situations, and this will give you a different idea of conflict. There is battles for land take place, resources. Right. That's why I always say when people say, oh, what, just because you've been banned from speaking publicly? Well, people have fought wars for less. That's your livelihood. Only a lot of us don't have territory like we used to as an agrarian society. You have a spot of digital.
If you're going to start, like, doing what Matt Walsh does, which is invoking indigenous genocide and colonization or stuff like that, to be like, hey, this is just what human beings do. It's like, yeah. So, you know, after a lot of decolonizational efforts that happened post-World War I, and you know in large part why that happened? Because it was getting really hard to hold all of these colonies together at the same time that there was, like, a global conflict and a war. And suddenly there's a whole bunch of insurgent forces and a lot of the colonies fighting for their own liberation. And so you were fighting multiple campaigns at once. So the idea of decolonization from things like, say, the British Empire, the French Empire, suddenly became something that was a lot more plausible and possible. So the very idea of suddenly, yes, maybe this shouldn't be the way that we compose ourselves. Hey, why don't we form nations together in a league? We'll call it the League of Nations. And then we can combine to start, you know, saying things that we don't want to have happen, you know, generally in society that we can recognize as bad. And then, you know, later on, after yet another fucking global war, we can start talking about things that we think should not be allowed in warfare because it's horrifying. The very idea of children dying from horrifying effects years and years later, we should probably start calling that out. Start saying that there's certain weaponry that we don't feel is a humane way of composing war, which just by itself is kind of fucked up. But still, yeah, let's do that. We'll have a convention in Geneva. Yeah, we'll talk about these kind of things. And it's not that it's ever stopped fucking imperial powers like the United States, right? The United States, the US, oh boy, are we gonna fucking start you know, releasing chemicals on Vietnamese citizens? Are we gonna using things like Agent Orange? Well, it's a defoliant. It's in order to clear out large amounts of the jungle so that we can see Charlie, find the enemy, and really give it to them. So yes, we're just going to have to make sure all the vegetation is completely gone. But it's cool. We're going to be doing that strategically. And it's like, but this could have potential effects lasting for generations if you do this. That's chemical warfare. That's a horrifying fucking thing of the highest order. No, we put in rules. We said that we're not going to do this shit anymore. We're better than that. So again, going back to Crowder and this entire discussion around, like, I just want to let everyone know that, like, you know, seizing land, wars of conquest, they're part of human history, right?
Doesn't necessarily indicate a battle of good and evil. Sometimes people just need resources because they need to live. It would be like coming home. You come home, your house is ransacked.
So Just to fill you in, Stephen. So people in Gaza needed resources to live. They were actually entirely dependent in large part due to humanitarian aid and international resources coming in to that area. And as a result of the Israeli government's decision to cut them off from all food, all water, all fuel, all fucking medical supplies, the situation that was already dire is now infinitely more horrifying.
Okay? Your television's gone, computers, jewelry, all of that. And you make your way up to the bedroom and someone's still there. And you see that it's a scared, poor kid. Still could have made better decisions, right? There are other options. I'm not giving him a pass. But you see that he's scared and he has maybe a handful of your jewelry. He looks at you and says, if you just, and jumps out the window and he runs away. Okay, he takes your crap, he runs away. All right, that's different. You're probably not going to chase him down and kill him. Now, let's contrast that. You come home. This is the kind of conflict we're dealing with. You come home. Your house has been ransacked. You walk up to your bedroom, and at gunpoint, he ties you down to a chair and says, I'm going to come back when your whole family is here and kill all of them. Remember me. I'm never going to stop until everyone in this house is dead. You deal with those two people very differently.
Yeah.
And
So if you want to make a direct comparison with the weird ass analogy that you're trying to do here, Stephen, that person would have had to have been kept and starved in an open air prison for generations, and at which point that person breaking out and committing acts of terrorism is then met with the carpet bombing of all of his friends, family, relatives, and people he did not even know, people that he had never associated with, people who may not even have any interest in direct conflict at all. We're talking thousands upon thousands upon thousands now of civilians who have been crushed by the bombing campaigns that have been done.
one is an accurate depiction of how these Islamists believe they are to live, how they are called to act by God. It's, I'm coming back and killing every last one of you in the Lipschitz household. Then, when I'm done with that, I'm going down.
Fucking post 9/11 Islamophobia, right back. It's in vogue again, everybody. We can really start expressing ourselves in the same way. Yay. Hey, what's Richard Dawkins got to say about this? He was pretty Islamophobic. Oh, sorry, he's really concentrating on trans people right now. Okay, well, the rest of you, let's get back to the good old days. You know, you remember it. Let's profile everybody. If you see something, say something. Every single person who's got a little bit of melanin could potentially be a terrorist. Everyone.
To the McDonald's down the street. I'm going to their household because they're Christians. Once we're done with all of the Jews, Christians next. Because it is a worldview, a religion of global. When people talk about the doomsday cults of Christians, and they're stupid,
Right, yeah.
where they're trying to invite doomsday, they'll even talk about that with Israel, right? They'll talk because of the Messiah. Do you realize that all of Islam is a doomsday cult, that really we're only going to reach the end?
Wait, sorry. Are you trying to invoke correctly, by the way, the right-wing Christian viewpoint that apparently this is to usher in the second coming of Jesus? And yeah, that shit is pretty horrifying. That shit is doomsday cult. The Christian nationalists, the Christian fascists, they are a horrifying organization of which have a lot of real structural power in the United States. A ton of fucking structural power. Fucking horrifying people. Hey, the Speaker of the House, third in line for the presidency, 2 heartbeats away from becoming the president of the United States. One of those people that I am talking about, one of those horrifying people, that's a lot of structural power. Now, are there extremists, religious extremists, in every single sect of religion? Yes, of course. Does that mean that every single person who is fucking Muslim in any way, shape, or form wants to commit violence against other groups? No, that's just bigotry. You're just recycling the same old bigotry. Like fucking Batman, Ben Affleck is fucking schooling all these people on this topic years ago when he was fucking debating Sam Harris and Bill Maher, where they were both just trying to spew the same thing, where it's like, yes, there is tenets specific to Islam that obviously radicalize people at numbers we've never seen before, and that is the biggest threat to all of us. The real potential threat right now of terrorism is coming from religious extremists who unfortunately we have to say this, but are Muslim, and that is just the reality. And even Batman, even Ben Affleck, back then was like, you can't say that about every single Muslim. you couldn't say that about every single Christian, that there are completely peaceful and reasonable Christians who just want to, you know, devote themselves to love for what they believe is their God and share time with their family and church. They are not violent and horrifying people. And then there are violent and horrifying people who want to impose the will of God upon others or impose draconian fucking medieval style shit on people who happen just to be LGBTQ+. They are real as well. There are warlords, Christian warlords in countries in Africa who do horrifying things, and some of them do that in the name of Christianity. Yes, it is a very real reality of this world. That stuff is horrible. Is that every fucking Christian? If you were to label every Christian as a potential radical terrorist extremist, like, you know, if you see something, say something. Hey, do you see a little grandmother and she's sitting at the airport and she happens to have the cross? Did you know the cross is actually a symbol of torture and she's got that hanging there proudly? Well, you better tell a police officer. You better know, because that little bag she's holding could potentially be some kind of a bomb or a gun. So if you see something, say something. Like that's genuinely what post 9/11 fucking xenophobia was. It was every single person who happens to be Sikh or Hindu or any other religion, just if they happen to be wearing a turban or anything. Well, I see something, and I'm gonna say something because I need to. You know, this person could be trying to blow us all up. We don't know, but we got to find out.
Muslim is converting every person on earth. You need to constantly struggle.
Every single person on earth is being converted to Islam
For a global caliphate?
Like, is that just because the statistics that it's the fastest growing religion in the world?
And maybe not everyone does that. But 198 Muslims in the world think it's okay to sometimes kill civilians, and at least 54 million Muslims, according to these polls from Pew Research, say.
Seeing what's going on right now in Gaza, it seems to be that there's a lot of people, including presidents, prime ministers, who are fine supporting an administration that is currently ethnically cleansing Palestinians off the face of the earth. Again, they have structural power. We're talking about people with structural power. Now, hey, Joe Biden's Irish. He's a Catholic. Does that mean that all Catholics are the same? That every single Irish person is the same? Does it mean that? Can't remember what Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is, but he's certainly something. And does that mean that all of those somethings are something? That they're all the same something?
It's okay to kill civilians most of the time. You see this ending. And again, I would love to hear if there's an exception. Brian says Jordan. I think he's wrong.
I think that the biggest challenge for Islam has always been can you actually have separation of church and state? It is not compatible.
No, it's not prescribed.
It's a blueprint for how to run your entire society.
It's a theocracy.
This should be your jam. It is your jam when it comes to fucking Christianity. That's the shit you're just all for. Oh, they're always trying to take fucking, religion out of the schools, take religion out of the Oval Office. Why do we always have to separate, church and religion? Did you see the speech given by the Speaker of the House? Did you hear the things that he was saying? That shit was full-on Christian fundamentalist. I thought I was just fucking at a church, I'm one of those really scary churches where it's all Old Testament style, fire and brimstone. We are ordained by God. I hear the voice of God in my brain. God is telling me to do what I'm about to do right now. Like, what the fuck? That's the Speaker of the House? Holy fuck. Turning Point USA founder and right-wing radio host Charlie Kirk, whose shrinking face is defying gravity, responded to the Israel-Hamas war by singling out and attacking Jewish people. Kirk has repeatedly pushed anti-Semitic tropes and called out Jewish individuals and donors, basically blaming them for fueling, quote, Jew hatred on college campuses. Kirk and his group have also a history of associating anti-Semitic and racist individuals, and they have previously drawn criticism for their anti-Semitic commentary. Turning Point USA has a history of working with influencers and individuals who have pushed anti-Semitic, racist, and white nationalist talking points. Some Turning Point USA media figures have been criticized for their response to the war. Kirk said the Jewish people control, quote, not just the colleges, it's the non-profits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. Everyone, this is anti-Semitism. This is racist-ass anti-Semitism, part of a globalist conspiracy where Jewish people control everything. This is what anti-Semitism looks like. It's not a octopus plushie being situated in the corner of a photograph by Greta Thunberg. That's not what that is. This is anti-Semitism.
Mechanism of radical open border neoliberal quasi-Marxist policies, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews.
So, there's vile anti-Semitic filth. the spreading of conspiracy theories, the very old trope that Jewish people control multiple levels of government, of media, of stuff like that, of institutions, academic institutions as well, and in the same breath, like, a sentence prior being like, it's the Christian evangelicals who truly support you, yes, and the actions of the Israeli government.
And now it's coming for Jews, and they're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it. It's like, time for you.
Not just the colleges that they apparently control, they being Jewish people. It's Hollywood, it's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's everything. Yeah. But this is a supporter of Jewish people, Charlie Kirk.
Very honest with you, I don't feel sorry for these rich Jews that have been funding this crap. They're like, oh my gosh, I don't understand. Like, you guys have been under.
There it is. There's the anti-Semitism.
You're writing this. Like, wake up. And they're like so outraged. Like, where's the ADL? That's what they're saying. Well, the ADL's on the side of this. You guys have created this beast because you've been so afraid of right-wing terrorism. Turns out we don't control these colleges. Sorry, guys. This is a beast of your own making. Look at this clip here.
So, obviously, this horrifying racist and anti-Semitic bigot here doing what he's doing. I do want to again reiterate that it is not Jewish people who control all academic institutions. And it's not, again, if you want to look towards the people who get to control and profit handsomely from how rich academic institutions become, and also the land that a lot of universities end up buying, it's rich people, again, millionaires and billionaires, oftentimes billionaires, they are the ones that profit handsomely from very, very wealthy academic institutions. Kirk made a blanket statement about Jewish people, saying that in American Jewish society, there's an overcompensation to want to be liked, and Jews go, quote, above and beyond to give donations. Kirk suggested that secular and elite Jewish people who are, quote, pumping money into colleges and universities have been turning a blind eye to anti-Semitism. Kirk blamed elite Jewish culture for being one of the main funding sources for elite colleges and universities, and suggested our breeding, quote, Jew hatred. On X, Kirk repeatedly attacked Jewish people who have donated to American colleges and universities, sometimes by name. Not subtle about his anti-Semitism. Charlie Kirk is playing into deeply horrifying anti-Semitic tropes, utilizing them, trying to position his personal Christian evangelical views by stating which he considers to be good Jewish people, bad Jewish people, people for whom he believes are part of a massive conspiracy to control media and academic institutions and organizations, as well as government. There you have it. This is the face of anti-Semitism right here. And the face may be shrinking and small sometimes, but it is a face nonetheless. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback, because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This show is produced by amazing people like you, and if you want to help us out, please consider donating over at patreon.com/theserfs. The show is made possible thanks to Amazing Fletch, Anna Loves Riley, Ariane McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Doug Cady, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Laminia Panza, Matthew Scarborough, Multimondi, Omni, Peanut Butter Blondie, Political Pappy, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Ruby K, Sir Nickus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Demo, Tech Tink, Trevbot EXE, Words Greenwood, and not to mention all of the amazing and fabulous people you now see before you.